just curious.
I don't
With
know
about
what
a
that
third of
building
it
is,
gone?
Ellen, and I see part of the name is gone.
Something.
Dodge?
Does look like an office building.
But yeah, it's in the same area with the Cutler Ridge Mall. I think it's Cutler Ridge 2 because the other pink building is still standing as Cutler Ridge 1.
I bet it is. That's what it looks like.
Well, this
guess,
is
Marie.
some serious structural damage in this area too. I mean, these are chunks of concrete and block and plaster, and these things are very heavy. One can't help but imagine where they went after they were stripped from that roof. And let us only hope and pray that they did not end up in somebody's house or worse, hitting someone in that area.
Well, we've heard that the death toll has gone up to 8 now, and
obviously a lot of damage to many of the homes on Key Biscayne. And so it looks like the storm surge certainly may have affected the folks on Key Biscayne.
You ever seen anything like this before?
Never have I ever. And I'm from the Midwest and have been through many tornadoes. The damage that we're seeing coming back looks exactly as if a tornado had just ripped through it.
It's astounding, just the scope of the damage. I mean, here we are with a storm that, by all accounts, was a small, compact one, and yet, what are we talking, 60 miles across with 160-mile-plus winds?
I think that 45 miles, extending outward from the eye, about 45 miles is what the hurricane-force winds were. It's what they were saying last night. And, boy, just complete and utter devastation.
Hotel out there on Key Biscayne. Yeah, I tell you. Look at now look at the water here. Now that's a storm surge.
There's not supposed to be water there. I don't know if you know that, but if you've ever been on Key Biscayne, those areas, now those are some condos.
That's the highest point on Key Biscayne right there. That's the highest building out there. I think that's, well, I'm not even going to hazard a guess what the name of it is. Key, I don't know, but it is the highest point, I do know that. I'm hoping that we get down to the Cape Florida area and see how that worked out. There is the Cape Florida area just beyond those condos. See how the lighthouse fared.
I wonder if the lighthouse is still standing.
There's the lighthouse.
There it is.
Look, ask and you shall receive. There it is. I guess the next question is beyond that. Stiltsville.
As I was discussing that with one of the assignment editors earlier.
Well,
of course, there was nobody out there. So.
But look at this. Cape Florida has just been, the foliage has just been
ravaged.
Leveled. Absolutely leveled. You're talking about a minimum of whatever was there. Half of it is now gone, flattened. But interestingly enough, the beach has not eroded that badly. That seems to be intact.
We just came back, and there's a lot of traffic out there, a lot of people rubbernecking that shouldn't be out there right now. And the causeways are starting to fill up. Did you get the advisory on when they're going to let people back on the beach?
Back on Miami Beach at 5 o'clock today.
But there's only about a 2-hour window because doesn't the curfew
The curfew
take
begins
effect
at 7. That's right. So if you're going to get there in a hurry and make sure you've got proper identification. ID. That's interesting. That lighthouse still standing. Been out there since the 1830s.
It seems like all the older buildings are the ones that seem to be in better shape, doesn't it?
Here they are, right out there on the water. And they've made it. Now, storm surge, interesting. You were talking last night. I heard you on WLYF radio when we lost all our power here. You were talking about the storm surge is not that traditional wall of water we hear.
More of a
declaration for disaster.
All right, thank you very much for your time. You'll carry on with your press conference, and we'll be listening in, Governor. Thank you very much. Thank you, Governor. We'll take this. Teresa, anything else you'd like to ask?
Well, Jerry, I was just asking Bob Weaver here. I said, you know, we're getting a lot of these phone calls about folks who are saying, we're out here, we have yet to see one police car, one ambulance, rescue units. A lot of these folks may have been taking care of their own problems or may not even know that the city needs them again.
This is what we talked about earlier and just what the governor said. The devastation is so widespread and so unbelievable. I don't think anybody realized how bad it was until it was over. And right now, as he said, help is on the way. It just has to get here because there's, even though there's terrible devastation here en route, there are trees down, there are vehicles in the way, but help is coming and will be there.
That's exactly what the governor said. I mean, you know, if you've been out at all, just even outside of your front door, you can see the devastation on your one road alone. And just consider the evacuation area that covered 800,000 people. Now, whether or not all those people evacuated is one thing, but certainly there is just a countless number of emergencies. And so the governor is just as much as he can do, he wants to assure people to be patient, that if you need help, help is on the way. It may take some time because of the you know, incredible devastation out there, but he assures us that help is on the way.
Jerry, you know what I'm worried about also? All those people who have a problem down there, how are they getting food?
Well, just like everyone else, Bob, you know, I guess this is a time when we have to help one another. You know, we've been telling people for days to stock up, and in the hours and days before Andrew got here, we were showing people packing grocery stores. So there are plenty of people out there, I believe, that, you know, are stocked up. And so, you know, I just think that you need to check with your neighbors and your relatives and be sure everyone's set. And if they're not, we need to lend a helping hand.
Camaraderie, Jerry, I think is the key word here. We're seeing it already in many neighborhoods that were devastated, especially down in South Dade. And also, we'd like to mention those folks who are calling with a similar complaint. There are hospitals open. I know that Baptist Hospital is one of them, and I don't know if James Archer Scott, is it South and Perrine is also open? I know that Baptist for a fact, and I don't want to send everybody to
They're all calling for their personnel.
Right, but everyone is calling for, there you go.
A lot of them must be open.
And by the way, while we're here and talking about the hospital, I know that Baptist needs doctors desperately. If you can lend a hand, you should call them at 596-1960, extension 6292. Ileana Bravo was here about 2 or 3 hours ago telling me about the cases, and it is just so emotional to sit there and watch these. I mean, you've got elderly, you've got children. So if you are a professional, if you are a doctor, physician, if you can help one of these hospitals, be it Baptist, be it any hospital in South Dade that is now area, I'm sure they would appreciate it. Now, we are waiting for the governor to have his press conference.
You bring them in, the faster you spin. It's the same case here. And that's why the winds got up to 165.
And the fact that it was fast also, because if you consider the fact that if this hurricane would have sat and stalled just before it reached land, or right as it reached land, it probably would have pushed a heck of a lot of water into our area. Actually, this was a dry hurricane.
That's what I thought last night, too. Actually, it was moving at about 23 miles an hour in the very beginning. Then it slowed down to 13 one day and 10 another day. Now it's back up to 18 out in the Gulf of Mexico. So it came through at a pretty good clip, which was good.
We were talking earlier that, well, we didn't see this damage early on. Look at the trees there. Isn't that incredible what happened there? But we were saying that the tidal surge, the water surge that usually goes with those hurricanes along the coastal areas, saved the coastal areas because it wasn't there. It really wasn't much of one.
One of the problems now is we can't get onto Miami Beach. I guess they're going to open that up. We need to see what happened out there.
I understand that there was not the widespread destruction. Some people that I know have been on the Miami Beach, and it's not like this. A lot of trees down, but not much structural damage.
But do you realize the volumes of information we're going to learn from this for the next ones? Because, I mean, we couldn't have written the scenario much better as far as knowledge for future, storms.
What are the major things that you think?
Well, what we've always been worried about, of course, is what would happen on the beach to these structures, whether they would be undermined with the water and, stuff like that. Are these structures going to handle it? For mechanical and construction engineers, I think it's going to be a field day to go through all this and find out exactly what happened.
Maurice was just showing us the marina there. Maurice, you want to put that up on the screen again so we can see what happened? Dinner Key Marina.
Okay, we haven't got quite to the Dinner Key, Sally. I'm showing you now Gable Estates.
Oh.
This is Gable Estates here, and then I'll be sliding over and we'll show you Cocoa Plum.
Look how calm that looks.
Can you point out...
the Gables supposedly had some pretty heavy damage as well, and we haven't been able to see it from this vantage point yet.
Oh my goodness, look at these. Can you point out Jose Canseco's home for us, Maurice?
As soon as I get to the pink one, I'll show you. This is the...
Maurice knows them all from up there.
This is the damage that was done over here in Cocoa Plum. You're looking at Cocoa Plum now, down below with the trees.
Yeah. Some expensive landscaping down the drain there. Look at that.
This is a good argument to continue with underground utilities, too.
Good point.
A lot of the line...
Would that have saved a lot of
as soon as the trees come down, it's just a domino effect to the street lights and the power lines. And...
Whoop, I think we've lost Maurice there.
I'm sure he'll be right back. Very dependable. Craig Stevens standing by right now with an update.